civility and understanding, since I'm under the weather and I certainly do not want to get anyone else sick. So today I'm going to talk a bit about core concepts for community change. And when I say core concepts, this is really about what are some of the foundational frameworks that we understand and that we adhere to when we're doing community organizing and community action. These can also be things that others refer to as principles of community engagement, and understanding the foundational idea that guide effective community action is really crucial. So core concepts include collective action, empowerment, and social justice. These concepts help us to frame the way that we approach different community issues. So when we say community, then this is a very overused term. People are like, well, I'm working with the community, or this community thinks such and such. But when we say community in general, it's referring to groups of people that are working together. Communities are made up of diverse individuals who unite to confront injustice. That's how we're using it specifically in this class. We're talking about communities that are facing some sort of injustice, that are overcoming an issue in their community. And when we're talking about social change and community, that's referred to groups that are traditionally marginalized and have faced some sort of oppression under our current systems. So an example might be a neighborhood organization is looking to address a lack of healthy food by creating a community garden. So with this example, collective efforts would be needed to amplify voices and bring about impactful change. Some of the core concepts around community engagement include starting with the people and community. And it's very much based on relationship. It's not just about, I have this great idea, I'm going to parachute in, but you really have to work with folks and understand what the organization or what the community wants to see change, and what your relationship is to that, and have start a dialogue, start a conversation. When we did the activities around the story of self and really starting with your own identity, this is core in terms of building relationships. You need to be able to share your story and really be able to listen to other stories. Healthy relationships within a community foster trust and help to build collaboration. With the process of participation, engaging everyone in decision-making is essential for sustainable change. You, of course, can always make change and make decisions, and there's top-down decisions, but for something that truly works for the community and will likely work for a long term, deeper democracy is preferable. An example would be a housing group formed a tenants council to discuss concerns, and they proposed solutions collectively based on what they're hearing from other tenants, based on what their understanding of needs are, and they put forth a solution that would actually work for them. Community engagement, social change start with the people. They are the experts in their own lives. The answer lies in community, and there's a definite need for authentic participation. People have invaluable insights into the challenges and insights into the solutions that might work best for them. Local residents understand their needs better than outsiders. Ensuring that all voices are heard, especially marginalized ones, enriches the community's response to issues. An example for this would be involving youth in designing programs that address their specific needs, such as after-school activities. So this is a picture that I took at one of the COPs that I attended, and a number of organizations such as the Climate Justice Alliance and Grassroots Global Justice have done a tremendous amount and really terrific campaigns in terms of putting out there in venues such as the Conference of the Parties and in United Nations spaces, that the communities that are most impacted are the ones that hold the solutions, that community is expert. So relationships and working together. Social change thrives on collective action rather than individual action. Collective action is when communities unite. And then in this way, when they come together, they create more powerful solutions. Working with people, not for people, ensures this type of collaboration. It ensures that a solutions are both relevant to the community and effective, that they will actually do the work that we hope they will do. A coalition of local businesses and residents working together to improve a neighborhood safety through the neighborhood watch program would be an example of this sort of collective action. This picture is another one that I took during the climate march that took place in Washington, D.C. And this, I love this story. But the sunflowers have become a really big symbol of the climate justice movement. And it's used throughout all different cities and communities that are working towards climate justice. It did actually originate from my organization, East Michigan Environmental Action Council, during the 2010 social forum. We used the sunflower as a way of shutting down the incinerators, and we do not need more pollution. We need more sunflowers, more pollution reduction in our neighborhoods and in our communities. And that's really caught on as a symbol for the climate justice movement. And you'll see that in a number of climate justice, especially grassroots movements, as showing how we are unifying around climate change. So a little bit about understanding the root cause of issues. Issues often stem from deeper systemic problems, such as poverty and discrimination. And it's important to examine these systems and structures. Analyzing policies that perpetuate inequity is crucial for informed action. Learning approaches to take action could be empowering communities with knowledge and skills to advocate for themselves. One example would be a community group analyzing local zoning laws that disproportionately affect low-income families, and then working together to find solution or policy to change that. So here is a graphic to understand the different types of change, or different types of community organizing and social change. So starting with the smaller purple circle, it's in the center. The intrapersonal, which are individual beliefs and attitudes. The interpersonal are relationships and interactions with the community. Institutional are policies and practices of organizations. The community level change are often collaborations, local networks, nonprofits, and a variety of support systems for the community. The systemic level is broader societal structures and norms. Here's a couple different examples of what each of these things could look like. So looking at, starting with the interpersonal, I don't like how this is organized, I'm sorry. We'll start with the intrapersonal, which is self-reflection and personal growth, such as, when we did the story of self and learning about different privileges and impressions, understanding our own positionality. The interpersonal is building supportive friendships, peer support work, support networks. Institutional are policies that promote equity, such as workplace diversity initiatives. Community is local advocacy groups, like a coalition for affordable housing. Systemic could include national laws affecting rights, such as discrimination legislation. We will actually, in our next class, we meet together, so next Monday, not next Monday, in 2 weeks, we're actually going to do an exercise really pulling apart these different levels of change, these different levels on which change can happen, to give different kinds of examples to understand how biases creeps in and how all of them also work together. So this is just giving you a quick overview, as this is very much related to our core concepts. Community change is multifaceted. Different issues require diverse strategies for effective solution. There's no one issue and there's no one approach. There are so many different ways to create change. A key point could be embracing a holistic perspective that can allow for a more holistic change to happen. This is one of my favorite quotes. This is what I call a power quote. I've actually used this in so many different annual reports. Audre Lorde stated that there's no such thing as a single issue struggle because we do not live single issue lives. This highlights the interconnected nature of social issues and the importance of an inclusive approach. And this is one of the ways I would say you can see the difference between social justice, environmental justice, and things like that are more nonprofit issues or like an environmental group might take on. They do tend to do campaigns that are maybe more single issue, but very much focused on policy or making a short-term change. Whereas grassroots organizations, they're concerned about their family, they're concerned about their community. That means that's not just like, oh, I need to worry about what air I'm breathing and my children are breathing. I also have to worry about what I'm putting on the dinner plate, the dinner table, what kind of education and schools are in my community that my children be exposed to. They're all interconnected. You're not just worried about one thing at a time. There's so many different types of oppression that are happening at the same time that a holistic approach is really needed if you're doing grassroots social change work. In the reading for today, in Barry Checkaway's Core Concepts for Community Change, one of the quotes from what we read states, when people see an underlying concept that sheds new light on their lives, it can change their world and motivate them to pursue new forms of social action. The core concepts I want you to pull out from this piece, which I think were pretty clearly highlighted, are around strengthening community, starting with the people, joining together in solidarity, believing in change, increasing participation, and having a strategy. So just take a moment to think about, were there other core concepts that you pulled from the reading or other core concepts when it comes to social change that come to your mind that you think are key principles that you need to understand and implement when doing social change work? Some of the key skills for community change, which I would also put in our core concepts. So these are all this, Barry's page and this page would be great examples of what you could do for your core concepts assignment with the memes or the playlist or the mind mapping. Some of the key principles are understanding yourself. Self-awareness leads to better community engagement. Listening and learning. Actively listening to community members fosters trust. Building relationships and trust. Strong connections facilitate collaboration. Critical reflection. Regularly examining your own experiences and implementing that, like using that feedback loop and implementing your learnings, your reflections into your action is always going to make you a better organizer and enriches your understanding of these complex issues. Understanding community, recognizing strengths and engaging in diverse voices. Empathy and humility, approaching issues with an open heart and being open to feedback, embracing your mistakes as opportunities for growth. We have a discussion board post that is already up on our Canvas page. So I want you to take, so there's two parts of this asynchronous lesson. The first is just to reflect on core concepts for community action and social change, these key principles of community engagement. Just reflect a bit on what are your motivations for engaging in social change and how are those motivations part of your understanding of core concepts? What influences the way that you think about the world? What are your multiple social identities and how do they impact your experience of community? What skills, resources, and styles do you bring to the work? And how do you critically reflect on the work that you're doing? Or how could you critically reflect on the work that you're doing when you're engaging in community action? Okay, so that's a post that is on our board. So as soon as you're done watching this, you go ahead and put those reflections up. On the discussion board, I'm also asking that you reply to at least one of your classmates' post. The second part is actually going to be in assignments. I want you to take one of the core concepts that we touched on from this week's materials, and it could be directly from this presentation, and create a mind map for it. So in this one, the center of it has social justice, and you don't need to put a description for each of them. This was actually what was done for the core concepts assignment, their final mind map. I just want you to play with a mind map idea. You can do it digitally, like do it in Canva or PowerPoint or something like that. Or you can just draw it and take a picture and submit it on Canvas. So if you could do learning from the community in the center, and then just do a word association and draw different arrows out or arrows back in. So just play with the idea of a mind map for this assignment. Just one concept, one map. This is another example. They're looking at privilege versus oppression, different ideologies, social change, social justice. So you could just pick one and then do your word association. You don't need to do descriptions in this one. It's just playing with concepts and association. I'm going to put this whole PowerPoint on our under our week module in case you want to go back and look at it. But these are some pictures I took from other times that I've written up on easel paper of the different core concepts. So some of this is pulling in what we just talked about, but understanding the process, community empowerment, strength and unity, listening to community, collective responsibility, starting with people, believing in change, collective action, developing community leadership, getting organized, skills and styles for multicultural community, social change and social justice, equity versus equality, prejudice and power, oppression, systemic oppression are some of the core concepts that you can explore that were touched on in our material as well as this conversation. All right, that's all for our short framing presentation. Please go ahead and fill out the discussion prompt as well as create your mind map on one core concept and upload